Hi everyone, this is Trisha, and today I have another watercolor project to share with you. Today's project uses only 2 stamps from Art Impressions. Let's take a look at the products we will need for this fall scene. First, I need the pumpkins from WC Series 3 Set 1 and the vine from the foliage set. So let's get started. First, we're going to ink up the pumpkins, and I'm going to stamp them towards the bottom of the page. I'm going to use a mask here to protect that first set of pumpkins, and then I'm going to stamp the second set of pumpkins right behind that. I'm speeding this up so you don't have to sit through me coloring in these pumpkins. So I've dipped my brush in water and pinched it off, and now I'm just pulling the color right out of the lines to give these pumpkins a little more depth. So when I add the other colors on top, they'll create a shadow on the pumpkins. So I'm just going to go around now and pull it out of the stem and then to the sides of the pumpkin. I want to maintain the shape of the pumpkin, so I'm pulling them out and I'm pulling the color into the middle of the pumpkin and still trying to maintain that roundness. So now I'm putting some color on my palette. I'm going to put the olive green, a little bit of English red, some orange, some terracotta, and brilliant yellow. Because what I want to do is I want to create the roundness using different colors. So instead of leaving white space, I'm actually going to fill these in with yellow. And that's going to serve as my highlight so that these pumpkins will have some depth to them. And this is really fun. So we're going to go from light to dark. And then I'm going to use some terracotta and maybe a little of the English red to really highlight the edges of those pumpkins to bring them out. And I'm going to add a little of the olive green right now to the pumpkin stems. So I'll put a little on the sides, then I'll just use a damp brush to pull a little bit of that color in so it creates its own highlight. So now I'm taking the orange, and all I'm going to do is go right around those lines. I'm leaving as much of that yellow as possible, just so that we really get a round feeling of these pumpkins. So I'm going to add some more orange, and as you can see, I'm still maintaining that round shape. I'm going with the lines of the drawing instead of just going straight up and down. I want it to seem like these pumpkins are round. So I'm going to add that, and now I'm going to go back in and just on the highlights, right where those sepia lines are, I'm going to put the terracotta. And not on those yellow spots. So now I'm going to go in and on that back pumpkin, and I'm using that yellow to really blend that color together so you don't see all of those watercolor lines. So now on the one in the front, I'm going in with the terracotta. I forgot to go in with the orange, so you'll see that I come back after I do the terracotta and come back in again with the orange. After I come in and blend it with the yellow, I think I noticed that I didn't do the orange. So I'm just going to go in and put a little bit more orange right in the middle of those pumpkins. This is my favorite thing to do. I hope you guys aren't tired of these pumpkins. They're just so much fun. And this time of year, I really want to get as many fall projects in as I can. I'll start going after Christmas projects and you'll get tired of those too. So now I'm just taking the vine here, and I inked it up with the olive green, and I'm placing it around the pumpkins. I want them to look like they're in a bed of leaves. And we're going to put in some olive green, some brilliant yellow, some orange, and some English red to give them a lot of variety. And I want them, this is why I didn't include the bottom of the pumpkins, because I knew they were going to sit on this bed of leaves, and I really wanted them to look like they were inside of the leaves and not on top of the leaves. So I stamped my olive green all around, and now I'm just using my damp brush to pull the color right out of the lines. And as you know from my other videos, the vine stamp, you want to ink the stamp up and then stamp it a few times in each area. This gives the nice variation and gives you some depth to your paintings. So sometimes what I'll do is I will ink up everything and stamp everything and then add the water. Here, because I want each layer to be its own, I'm actually pulling the color out of the lines after each time I stamp. So I stamped the olive green, I pulled the color out of the lines. I just stamped the brilliant yellow, and now I'm pulling that color out of the lines. Because some of the oranges are going to go over the yellows and the greens, some of them won't. So I really want to do each step individually. If all of those stamps were separate, then I could do all my stamping and then do all my softening at the same time. So now I've inked it up with the orange, and I'm just going through and putting a few orange leaves here and there where I think they might fall. And then I'm going to pull the color out of the lines over there. And then when you're done and you pull the color out, you might find that, you know, some areas more sparse than other areas. So you can always go back in and add more if you feel you need to. So right now I'm pulling the orange color out of the lines. I'm not using a ton of water. I really want you to see the definition in these leaves. You could have used the leaf stamp as well. That would have worked in this situation, but I really like the look of the vine. It's one of my favorite stamps. So I kind of had this project in my head, how I wanted it to look. So now I'm done with the orange. I'm going to go back in with my vine stamp and I'm going to ink it up in the English red. And this is an awesome color, especially for fall. It is just so brilliant and it's just awesome. So now I'm going to put a few of those in just to bring that fall color right around. And then I'll take my brush and I'll soften those lines as well. Now here I think I'm going to stamp just to bring those leaves right out into the foreground. So it looks like a pile of leaves instead of just a small little bushel of leaves. Right here. And now I'm going to go in and just, I guess I wanted a few more leaves that were actually on the pumpkins themselves. So I'm going to just soften that and then we can move on. See how that red just really brings the rest of the project to life? I just think it enhances it so much. English red is one of my favorites. So I'm going to go around the whole project now and just soften up those reds. It's amazing this technique, how wonderful and how different all your projects look every time you do them. I love this card. I might actually make a few more of these cards because I just love the look of them. So now we're going to move on and we're going to use the palette by putting some manganese blue to create a hint of a sky. I think a sky just really brings the whole project together. So you can put down a lot of water and put some color on there. And if it's too much color, use a paper towel or a dry brush to pull some of that color back. I usually use a paper towel, let the color soak in for a few minutes, and then if I find I'm getting hard edges, I'll add some water and then pick it up with my paper towel. So I decided I needed a little bit more blue at the top, so I'm just adding a little bit more blue to the right side. And I'll put some more water, a little bit more color, and then I'll pick it up with my paper towel just to soften it out. Now I use some sepia on my palette, and I'm just adding a little bit of ground and some shadows underneath those leaves. I just felt that the painting really needed to be grounded with that beautiful set of leaves and everything, but it was kind of floating out into space. So I just added some sepia, and then I'm using some water to just bring that color down and to get rid of those hard edges, and then just kind of soften it with the paper towel. And that's about it. So now I'm just going to sign my work. Maybe. Just going to sign my work, and that's it. So I wanted to show you how I actually, not show you, but tell you about how I created the rest of this card. So I took some materials from Gina K Designs. All the cardstock and the dies are from her shop. I just love her store. So what I did was I cut the painting out with the Fabulous Labels die. Then I used the same die to cut out the mat behind them. And I did that in, there's a cranberry tart cardstock as well as a dark chocolate cardstock. So in order to do the mat, all you have to do is die cut out the die from the two colors of cardstock, and then just cut them down the middle, and then you just move them to the outside of your focal point because they are the exact same size as the length. So there isn't anything on the side, so you can pull those out and do as many masks behind it as you want. So then I took the Sweet Mango cardstock and I used one of the Stitched Leaves kit stamps and used some Versamark and made a background on that Sweet Mango cardstock just to give it a little bit of interest. And I mounted it on a piece of dark chocolate cardstock. I die cut the Thankful and the Shadow out of Wild Dandelion and another piece of Cranberry Tart cardstock. I used a piece of scrap dark chocolate cardstock to white emboss the For You at the bottom of the card. And that's it. That's my card project for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. And thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and visit my blog for more information on this card project. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.